Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Playbook with Paul LaPolice. Ottawa REDBLACKS. We're going to talk about what happened last year. I've got my sheets that I kind of do for prep for the season to kind of get my ideas on what happened last year and see what happened roster free agency. So let's open the playbook on the REDBLACKS. All right, before I start, please subscribe to the page, turn notifications on. Subscribing to the page helps our follower base build, helps more exposure happen for the page. We like CFL content being on YouTube. I think we have over 1,800 followers, trying to get over 2,000. So please, a lot of people watch but don't subscribe. Subscribe and turn notifications on. Okay, Ottawa. Okay, a big year last year, first time in the playoffs since 2018. That was an excellent thing. 7-1 record at home, the best in the Canadian Football League. It was a lot of fun over at TD Place. So their season was 4-2 to start the season, 4-1-1, and 1-5 to finish. If you break it up in six, they were 6-3-1 versus the West. They really did a good job beating the Western opponents, and they were 3-5 against the East. So they were actually better than against the West. So looking at them offensively, a couple of things. Net offense, third in the CFL, 367 yards passing a game, or total offense a game. Second most passing yards, 303. So they've got a lot of passing yards. They had a lot of yardage last year. Some areas they struggled with was rushing the football. So ninth in the CFL. They weren't able to continue to establish the run game very well, and giveaways. Ninth in the CFL with 45 giveaways. You just can't. It's hard to win football games consistently week in and week out when you're turning the football over. So the 45 tops in the CFL. And points offensively, eighth with 25 points per game. Defensively, so a couple areas. Rushing yards, always a positive. This team the last couple of years, third in the CFL, only averaged 96 yards rushing, third best in the Canadian Football League. I believe only behind Toronto Argonauts and Saskatchewan Roughriders. So these guys could stop the run. Passing TDs. Only gave up 21, which is third best in the CFL, so they dropped that. But where they were still giving up a lot, and you saw this happen in their playoff loss to the Toronto Argonauts, was big completions. They're seventh in the CFL in big plays given up, and 30-plus completions. So if you remember in the playoffs, Toronto Argonauts won 50. They put a lot of points on the board, and they had a bunch of 4 explosive plays in that football game. So that's an area that I'm sure the REDBLACKS and their new defense coordinator is looking to change. Okay, so a couple of points here. Coaching big point for me is, number one, coaching turnover margin. If they can continue to get that better, they can make a huge jump from whatever their wins are. They can go from get a huge amount of number of wins by just flipping this turnover margin. 8th in the CFL at minus 14. Minus 14 is very difficult to win football games when you turn over. And as I said before, most giveaways at 45. So that will be an area I'm concentrating on the offense. Protect the football. Defense, continue to get takeaways. They were 6th in the CFL, the defense last year, but as I said before, 9th in giveaways. 7-1 at home. That's a huge thing. Keep building that success at home and make TD Place a tough place to play. Get the crowd involved. It's a lot of fun to be at a game at TD Place. So continue to build that. And I think the other thing they have to work on, I think they really got to continue to work on, if they got to score more points, they got to be better in the red zone. Last 2 years they've struggled in the red zone. So how do they create more touchdown opportunities? So Lewis Ward ain't trotting out there, that they're getting sevens on the field instead of 3s. So stats, 20-plus completions, tied for second in plays, third in yards. So these guys threw a lot of 20-plus explosive plays last year. They're second most in plays, third most in yardage, but they had the most interceptions when they're throwing it deep. and they had the second fewest touchdowns. So they're getting some of the big shots downfield. They just haven't capitalized those and resulting into touchdowns, and that's an area they need to improve. And don't be 9 touchdowns and 9 interceptions on your deep ball shots of 20-plus yards. So that's one interesting stat story that came up. Here's a stat story I love. Justin Hardy had a great season, leading the CFL receptions, 97 catches, second in overall yardage, 1,343 yards. Really good man, really good football player, excellent individual. 2 players tops in the CFL in sacks. I think that's pretty impressive on one football team, tied for first in the CFL. Mike Wakefield is an interior guy, and Lorenzo Malden tied for first with 8 sacks apiece. So expect those 2 guys to continue to dent the pocket and get some pass rush. So I think the big roster story for me is, losing Reichwell Armstead halfway through the year. They released him, and Devontae Williams not coming back. So who's going to be the running back? They had Kalon Labrum played some last year, but I believe the additional William Standback gives them, if they want to run the football, a big body back who can kind of run you over. And when DB's trying to tackle that guy, it's going to be hard. So the big body type, I think, is a good signing. And obviously, Eugene Lewis is a big story. We talk about getting touchdowns on those 20-plus conversions. So how about get the guy who scored the most touchdowns last year with 10? Eugene Lewis's 10 receiving touchdowns last year. Explosive scoring plays, that should help. Rhymes and Ackland both gone. Lewis and Khalil Pimpleton should fill in that gap and get more explosive football plays. So looking forward to seeing what the Ottawa REDBLACKS do this season.